Hi, my name is Tina. I am Head of Design of Victoria Designs, and this video contains the first tutorials for the Mad About Sewing project pack. This video contains the tutorials how to make the vertical journal and the horizontal journal. How to make the accordion folder will be in another video. I will put the link below. If you would like to discover this pack in our shop, or if you would love to see a video that shows you exactly what is in this project pack, I will put those links below also. If you don't want to print a full cover, this pack is also jam-packed with ink savers, several kinds by the way, that you can print on lightly colored paper or even tea-dyed paper or coffee-dyed paper. And there are also a number of templates that you can use with any kind of paper that you like. And now grab your scissors, let's get started. To make this journal you need some cardboard pieces. Now this cardboard is 1 millimeter thick. It's pretty sturdy, and you need, of course, 2 large pieces for the front and the back and a spine piece, and the measurements should pop up on your screen right now. So the journal is going to go like this, and it will fold like this. So you have a horizontal place to write, to sketch, etc. It's going to be a fairly large book. And the first thing to do is to add the outside cover. These pieces of cardboard are so large that the outside covers are actually full page prints. And of course you can use any type of paper that you like. And the first thing to do is to cover these 2 cardboards. So I'm going to cover these as I always do. Let me put this aside for a bit. First I'm going to add some double-sided tape all along the edges. On one side. Really keep close to the edge so you have a very nice finish. And then remove the backing of the tape. So, and now it's time to put some glue in the center. And if you want to make sure, you can use a very heavy glue for this. But you know, I have been experimenting the last few months with just using some heavy duty glue stick because it's just so much faster. And as for now, my crafts haven't come loose. But you use any type of glue that you like. You can also use full sheets or large pieces of double-sided tape, of course, but I just want to work pretty fast. Take your paper for the cover, turn it around, and place this in the center. If you have a pattern, please place it very straight, otherwise your pattern is going to go like this. Okay. Make sure it sticks. Now these pieces are a bit too wide, but that's because I'm using A4 paper. If you use leather paper, this won't stick out as much at all. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trim these a little bit. So they will be about the same height as this. It's not really necessary. I'm just a perfectionist. Sometimes, not always. Okay, now it's time to cut the corners. Just cut the corners. And I like to cut them not too much like this, but more like this. And make sure to keep about 1 millimeter or 1/16 of an inch away from the corner. Not too much also. So, like this. The covers of the vertical journal already have these shapes, but for this one, because it's so large, you have to do it by hand. Okay, and then fold this paper over. So I pre-folded these, and then it's time for the tape again. this Put the tape next to the cardboard. It's okay if there's some extra room here, it doesn't matter. If you like, you can cut these pieces next to the tape off totally, but you won't see them, so I'm going to leave them. Okay, remove the tape and really press on the paper. There you go. There. And make sure these stick very well. So this is one of the cover pieces, and repeat the same with the other cardboard. I covered both cover pieces, and now it is time to attach the spine. This piece doesn't need to be covered up front because we are going to cover it with the tape. For the tape, use a nice and wide sturdy tape. This one is 2 inches wide, and that is about the width that you will need. Cut a piece of the tape that is a bit more than twice the height of this book. Put it down sticky side up. Okay, I already feel I have to be really careful with this one. I think one wrong movement and I will be covered in tape and not these covers. So put the spine really in the center of this tape. Now, I don't mean the center lengthwise, but in the center widthwise. Is that a word? Widthwise? Keep it as straight as possible. Right. Okay, happy with that. Then turn over your covers. Take a scrap piece of cardboard that's about 1 millimeter or 1/16 of an inch wide. Put it next to the spine, just to leave a gap. And then put the cover next to it and make sure the top and the bottom line up. This. And then remove this piece. Okay, and repeat with the other cover. Place the scrap piece. And then carefully see. So I really slide against this piece of cardboard like this. And I'm watching if the top and the bottom line up like this, and then place it down. Okay, so fold over one end of the tape to the inside. Make sure it's straight. And carefully glue it down. Okay, like this. Take something to go in these gaps. Very important. So later on we can fold. All right. Don't worry about this messy bit. We will cover this all the way at the end with the inner covers anyway. So, okay. Apparently I used way too much tape. So I'm gonna cut a bit off. And then fold it over. Okay, and there's my outer cover. Let's make sure this sticks as well. Go into those gaps. And now I'm going to put this aside for a while because now I'm going to concentrate on the inside of this journal. I printed and cut the pages for the horizontal journal already. Of course, you can use any paper that you like, and you need 30 of these pages. I saw I only designed 29 of these, so you need to print one twice. And I also printed a neutral vintage paper on the back. And the journal will go like this. So there will be no folding. Now, how do you turn these into signatures that we can then sew into the cover? We're going to need these. We need 15 of these. These are 7" by 1". These have the same height as your papers. And as I said, you need 15 of these, and I already prepared the other 14, and I'm going to show you how to prepare them. Score them in the center, then fold them in half, open up, then take double-sided tape and tape right next to the center. All the length, yeah. And I say right next to the fold, that means make sure to leave 1 millimeter or 1/16 of an inch gap where we can punch our holes, like this. If your tape isn't wide enough like mine, one thing that you can do is make them narrower than 1 inch according to your width of the tape, but that's totally not necessary. I'm going to use them like these. So I have now 15 of these, and I call them page holders because the idea is to attach one page here and attach one page here, or like this, it doesn't really matter. And so to do that, simply remove the backing. Now be very careful. Attach this page at the edge of where the tape was. Like this. So take your time to do this well. And then I'm gonna remove the other sides and attach this paper as well. You can do it like this, you can do it like the other way around. You can choose which way you use. There we go. Okay. They're a bit close together, but that's actually not a bad idea. And now, if you look at it like this, we have 2 pages connected to each other. You see? I will do the same with all 15 of these and all my pages. I attached all these pages to the page holders and I put them inside each other 3 at a time. So that means that I have now 5 signatures that I can sew into a book. Now, of course, you don't have to use all these pre-made journal pages. You can also use them sparingly here and there, and for the rest, use graph paper so you can actually sketch something or make pattern drawings, etc. This is the inner spine for the horizontal journal. It has 5 rows of 3 holes each. Just punch them out. I like to do it lightly because the needle will probably make them a little bit bigger anyway. Like this. I printed this on 160 grams kraft paper, but you can actually use any type of cardstock, any color of cardstock that you like. And now I'm going to use this as a template to punch the holes in here. You can draw a separate template if you like, but I think this is quite easy. There, make sure these are firm on top of each other. If you don't trust it, just use some clips to hold these together. I like to turn it around so that the fold faces upward. Then I place my inner spine next to it and I can see I need a hole here, and I punch through all 3 at the same time. I need a hole here and one here. If you don't trust your eyes, draw a line, I would say. And do that with all the signatures. Great idea is also to just go like this. All these 5 signatures have holes now. And to make these stronger, I'm going to put a piece of tape on the back. And I'm going to punch through them again because I want these papers to hold without this piece tearing up. If your tape is a little bit larger, it really doesn't matter. And then you can just cut a piece off. It's just, it doesn't even have to be nice. It's just to make this piece stronger. So you won't see this at all. So visually, it doesn't matter which color you use. And then I'm just going to punch through those holes once more again. So I punch through the tape as well. Now this is an option. Before you sew these in, you can trim the sides, because the sides are going to go like this. And it's not very neat, but you don't have to do anything about it at all. But if you liked it to be more straight, trim all of these 5. I'm going to put these under my guillotine trimmer, just one at a time. What you can also do is just take a metal ruler and a heavy duty craft knife and cut these off. And now it is time to sew these in here. So let me start with one. This is the simple 3-hole stitch. I've done it more, but let me show it to you. And for this, I'm going to use some embroidery thread, just because it's sturdy. You can choose any color that you like, and you can separate the threads if you like. And I'm going to do that. But first, I'm going to measure my thread. And because we have 5 rows, we need 5 threads. In theory, your thread needs to be twice the length from this hole to that hole. Most of the time, I just make it 3 times the length. 2, 3. This embroidery thread has 6 threads, and I'm going to separate them in half so that I have 2 strands of 3 each. So this is already enough for 2 signatures, like this. And to sew these in, make sure you have a little tail here. Just open up, go inside out through the middle hole, this. Make sure that this doesn't disappear. You can always attach a paper clip if you like. That's just a little tip. And then go through the middle hole of one of the rows. I like to start at the end, but that doesn't really matter at all. Okay, now go turn around and go to either one of the side holes. Back in, through the spine, and also through the signature holes. Okay. And of course, instead of sewing, if you like to staple these signatures to the inner spine, that's totally possible as well. So, in, out, out, in, and then we go all the way up the top, back out, through hole in the signature, and back in through the middle hole. Like this. Then wrap one of the ends under the thread in the middle, pull on the thread so it's tight, and then just make a double knot. When it's all secure, just snip off the ends and your first signature has been sewn in my case the last one. And I'm going to repeat that with all the 5 other signatures. All the signatures have been sewn on this inner spine, and it's going to look like this. So these aren't going anywhere. And now it is time to attach this into the cover. And for that, I am going to apply 2 things. I'm going to spread this open, and I'm going to apply double-sided tape on the edge, and I'm also going to apply extra strong glue. I'm using Fabri-Tac because I really want this to stick. I'm not going to put some glue in the middle because it's going to come loose when you use the book anyway. First thing to do, double-sided tape, both edges. You know what? I'm going to attach tape just to be sure next to this one as well. It's going to come loose for a bit, but I want it to be as fixed as possible. So I'm gonna do 2 layers just to be sure. Two layers, I mean 2 rows. My double-sided tape, by the way, is 3/8 of an inch. Yours can be wider, smaller. Use your common sense to see how much that you will need. Like this. Okay, then I'm going to remove these backings. Oh, come on. Yep. And as I said, I'm going to add some glue on top. Like this. And then place this as good as possible in the center on the cover. Make sure your cover is facing the right way so that your insides won't be upside down. And make sure there's an 1/8 of an inch, about 3 millimeters, both at the top and the bottom, left over. And when you're sure, press this down. Still be careful. Okay, yeah. Turn the other way. When everything is kind of fixed, go with your bone folder inside those creases of the cover and fold the cover as well. On both sides, front and back. Yep. And then fold. Like this. Fold them both ways. And now I advise you to let this dry really, really well. I would say fold it open right in the center of the middle signature and place a heavy book on this and let it just sit for a few hours, or at least an hour. And then, last but not least, it's time to attach the inner spines. Inner spine of your choice. You can print one of the inner spines from the pack, or you can use the template to print it on some color paper of your choice. And I attach them by simply adding some tape on all the edges and some glue in the center. When you stick this down, make sure to leave a 3 millimeter gap, that's 1/8 of an inch approximately, on each sides. Okay. And this way you will see how this inner spine is attached is completely hidden. And repeat on the back cover as well. And here you go. This horizontal journal is ready to go, ready to be embellished and filled with memories, or filled with drawings for sewing, or filled with sketches. You can add some pockets in the cover. And yeah, this is a very large journal. To make the vertical journal, it is for the large part exactly the same as the horizontal journal, but I wanted to show you the process anyway. We also start out with cardboard pieces, front cover, a back cover and a spine. And the first task, like with the horizontal journal, is to cover these. And for these, you can use any paper that you like, but we also have pre-made covers like this. Oh, it's like this. You have to print it twice, of course, and I chose this design. So first, I am going to cut these out. And now I'm going to attach them the same way. So turn this around. And we're going to start the same way with some double-sided tape all around the edges, some glue in the middle, and just put that in the middle. Some glue in the center. And then place it right in the middle. Okay. If it's not super in the middle, it's not a problem, but make sure you still have a gap here at the corners. Now these gaps could be a bit too wide. You see, I didn't really place it in the center. I made them a bit wider. If you would like to use some heavier, thicker cardboard for the covers, then you can still use these, you know. And I'm just going to trim them a bit so that the gap here is only 1 millimeter instead of 2. Otherwise, this piece is going to be like in the way instead of just covering it up. And the next step, again, is put some double-sided tape against the cardboard on all 4 sides and just flip them over. Always make sure these stick very well. If you use heavy paper like I do, make sure you don't leave any gaps. So really pull the paper. So there's your first cover piece, and then now do exactly the same with the other cover piece. So both cover pieces are done, and just like with the horizontal journal, I already cut a piece of tape for the spine. Place the spine piece really centered and really straight. Okay, go. I have a scrap piece of cardboard. I'm gonna put that against the spine, and then I'm gonna put this against the cardboard, so we will have a millimeter 1/16 of an inch gap. So place down, put this thing out, and you have a very nice gap. Do the same on the other side. So cardboard piece first. Oh, cardboard piece first. Make sure they're facing the same way, otherwise you have an upside down one. And there we go. Great. Always make sure everything sticks. And then carefully and straight fold this over. Go into those gaps and make sure everything sticks. And then do the same. Oh no, with the horizontal journal, I had too much, and now I thought I was going to be smarter. You know what? I wasn't. No problem at all. Don't worry. Like this. First, I'm going to make sure this really sticks. Go in those gaps. And then I'm simply going to cut another piece. this. There. No one will notice. All patched up, and here we have our very flexible but sturdy cover. And this goes aside for a while because now I'm going to concentrate on what goes in here. There's also an inner spine for the vertical journal. This is it, and I just printed it on 160 grams kraft paper, but you can use any sturdy paper that you like. I recommend it to be sturdy though. This one only has 9 holes. I'm going to punch them lightly. You can use your needle for this as well. You don't really need an awl. And then for the papers on the inside, I am going to use 24 of these pages. So I printed them on one side and I printed one of the backs on the other side. This. And I divided them in 3 piles of 8 papers each. So that makes 24 papers in total. I already cut them out, place them on top of each other and fold them in half. And now I'm going to punch the holes the same way. Use clips if you think, oh no, I'm going to move these. There. And I'm going to use this as a template for the holes. Line up this piece of cardboard to make sure that these holes match up. See, I'm lining them up with these. Here's where my holes should be. Punch! There we go. And the same here. And I'm going to do that with all 3 of them. So my 3 signatures have holes. And now I'm going to fortify this piece, make it stronger by, again, putting some tape on the back and going through these holes again. And then I'm going to punch through these one more time. So I made a little mistake. The mistake is that I glued my tape on the not printed side. It won't show very hard, but you will still see these lines, and that's a bit of a shame. So now let's sew these in. I'm gonna start with one, of course. And actually the rest of the book is exactly the same as the horizontal journal. Like I said, but I want to show you anyway. I'm gonna cut some thread. Let's say 3 times from one hole to the other one. And some more, just to be sure. Gonna split these up again. If you think, hey, I know the rest, how it goes, just skip this part and go straight to the pockets. So needle, and again, from the inside out, through the hole. Leave a tail, of course. Add a paper clip if necessary, so you won't lose it. Okay, through one of the middle holes here. And then go back in through one of the side holes. And then go all the way to the other side hole, back out, and through this one as well. Yeah, I have to keep an eye on this tail here. I'm not going to attach a paper clip. I'm living on the edge. No, I'm just lazy. That's it. And go back in. Okay. There. And then make sure each end is on one end of this piece in the center. Make sure that you don't have any excess thread here. If your wire's on the same side, just pull one under and make a double knot. Trim the ends and that's it. Like this. And then repeat with the other 2 signatures. So, and now it is time to glue this piece in here. And you still see those lines, but I just had a great idea. I removed these lines from your files. You won't see them because I thought they would have a purpose, But the way I do it here, they actually don't. So don't worry about these. These won't even be there. Okay, same way, I'm gonna add some double-sided tape on the edge, a bit next to it as well, just for some extra sturdiness. And I'm going to add some glue on top. This is a bit tricky and a bit bulky because, of course, there's a whole journal under here, but it'll work. Then make sure this sticks like nothing has stuck before. Remove all these backings. Add some strong glue on top. And then place this really in the middle. Make sure your insides and your cover face the same way. And keep 3 millimeters from each side, that is 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Carefully make sure that this all sticks very well. It's okay if glue comes leaking out. We're going to cover this up anyway with the inner covers later. Go into that gap carefully and close. Cover. Play with it for a bit, and then do that same on the other side. So I'm gonna turn it around, handier for me. Really go into that gap. And close the cover. Okay. And then start playing with it for a bit when you're sure. When you're sure it sticks already. There, and then play with it for a bit. And then let this dry. If you're careful, you can already attach the inner pieces like this and then let the whole piece dry. I'm going to do that. So again, very easy. I love it when the last step is very easy. Double-sided tape on all the edges and glue in the center. And then just keep 1/8 of an inch or 3 millimeters from all the edges, and it'll line up with this inner spine here. This. Great. Be careful if it's still wet. And then do exactly the same with the inner spine on the other side. And then your journal is basically ready. Ready to go, ready to be filled. And I also added a large pocket to go in here that can hold actually a small notebook, and some smaller pockets that can go in the back. And I'm going to show you how to make this right now. I'm going to start with the large cover pocket, and this comes with these two. These two come with this. Because I'm going to glue it in, I chose one of the designs that has this white square piece in the center, because you're going to see it anyway. Why using ink on that piece if you're not going to see that? First thing, I'm going to cut this out and these as well. So now that these are cut out, I am going to score these lines. These 3 on each of these pieces. And these 2 large lines. Then fold these inwards. Like this. Make sharp folds with the bone folder or something else. So, and basically now you have an envelope, and the largest, the widest flap is going to be the bottom one, because these are going to be attached on the side. They have some fake sewing on them. If you like to make these with other paper, the templates are included as well. This one goes out, and then the middle one goes in, and this one goes out again. So fold it like an accordion, and do the same with the other side, with the other piece I mean. Of course, with these you can ink edges as much as you like. This. There, now you have 2 accordion pieces. Let's fold them open again. And now put some double-sided tape on all the outer pieces. So 4 pieces. And these 4 pieces are all 3/8 of an inch wide. And that's the same width as my tape. Okay. So now remove one of these backings, and I'm going to glue it here. So the fold against the paper like this, so it can fold in here. Do the same thing with the other piece here. This. It's actually easier to do it upside down and put the envelope part against the fold. And then fold it over. So. And then remove one of the other pieces. Fold this middle part in here, so like this. Close the envelope and fold this piece over. Same one here. This is going to be a bit trickier because the envelope has already been closed. Remove the backing. Fold the middle fold inside the envelope and just fold over. And now you have an envelope that actually can hold more than just a piece of paper. It has some room in here, you know. And you can further embellish this envelope as you like. You can also print a full sheet design, one of the many in the pack, on the other side as well. And you can close it as you like. You can also punch corners if you like, or use a very, very pretty fantasy punch. You can do so much with this. What I do now is really the bare essentials. I'm going to use a very, very simple closure, fast and easy. Velcro. So I have some round Velcro pieces, one with the loops and one with the hooks. The one with the hooks goes on the bottom. So mine are fairly large to go between here. So I'm going to cut a piece off about this. Yeah, going to do exactly the same with one here, like this. And these are self-adhesive, so it's very, very easy to use. First, I'm going to measure the center, of course. It's gonna be this. And here as well. Gonna put the piece with the hooks here. This. And the piece with the loops on this side. Ooh, it sticks really well. Awesome. Like this. And now, oh, of course, that wasn't very smart of me. I should have turned this around, but it'll still close. Now, this piece fits in here perfectly, and there's still room enough in between to really put a small notebook in here. This fits right here. And then you can just use some double-sided tape and some glue to glue this part in here. And in the back you can add these 3 pockets. I already cut them out, and I'm going to make a little notch with my 1-inch hole punch. You can use a smaller hole punch if you like. You know what? Then fold these 3 tab lines. Once more, I have let the background flow over the line so you won't see it when this is folded. And then just score these. Fold them over. Add some double-sided tape on these flaps and glue them in. You think, hey, there's only room for 2. Well, let me show you how I am going to do this. I prepared all these 3 pockets, so I scored them, folded them, and added some double-sided tape. Gonna remove these 3 tapes of one of the pockets. Gonna fold the bottom one in first and then the side ones on top. This way it will already stay together. And then I am going to place the first one on top of this page like this, in the center or wherever you like it to be. This. Then I'm going to take the second one, remove the backings and do exactly the same. Fold the bottom one in first and then the sides on top so it already stays in place. Like this. And then I'm going to place this one on top. Now, this one's placed very high, I realize. It should have been placed an inch lower, but all right. And the last one I'm going to place right here. And this way you can have multiple pockets on top of each other. Yep, like this. And you can even add 4 if you place them closer to each other, etc. So, and now your journal has some pockets in there. Of course, you can add more pockets in here on these pages. There are a few on the embellishment pages as well. Go nuts! And now I'm going to quickly show you how to make a quick notebook to put in the front envelope in the cover. I took a piece of one of the papers in the pack. On a sturdy piece of paper I printed this one. You can print something on the back as well, of course. This has been cut at 8 by 7 inch. That's 20.3 by almost 18 centimeters. And I also cut some ivory colored papers, regular paper, to the same size. Put them on top of each other and I'm going to fold this in half, this whole piece. There we go. And regular viewers already know how I'm going to make this. I'm just going to use some staples and I'm going to measure, this doesn't really matter, like 1.5 inch from each side and punch a hole. And I'm going to separate 2 staples, 1 and too many. This. And I'm going to use one of the staples to see where my next hole should be. So the first one was here. Here's the second one. There. And I'm going inwards like this. And then simply I'm going to put staple through here and bend these 2 legs. Same on the other side. Bend the legs. And you have a little notebook. See? If you like, you can cut these pages as well with a guillotine trimmer or a very heavy-duty craft knife and a ruler, of course. I just did that. And if you like, you can also round all of these corners to make it look more not handmade. I am very sure there exists a corner punch that does the job a lot quicker than I do, but I have a simple one, so I have to use not too many pages at the same time. And there you go, a very simple notebook that looks really well. And it fits in this pocket at the front. And there you have it, a very pretty, handy vertical journal that is just ready to be embellished to the fullest as much as you like.